What's going on, guys? So, we got a few things to discuss here. We were talking yesterday about the potential of this breaking out and confirming some support back on top of this 830 to 816 level. And, I've been really trying to find some bullish structure here to tell me that this thing is going to go higher or if it's going to continue going down. And I think this is the hardest part for me, is finding support levels on the way down. If you guys have been watching my channel for this whole uptrend since we went long here at 475, I think I started making videos on Bitcoin Cash right around this 500 level here during this consolidation. And we did a hell of a job on the way up. Back testing old resistance as new support, pumping, back testing, and we absolutely crushed it. Even up to this point where we were going to get rejected around this level, and we were going to drop and catch support somewhere down here to a T. We caught this dump. We caught this pump to a T. And, we got a little thrown off. I got a little thrown off, I think, on this pump here. Because, was it this pump? I'm sorry, was this? I got a little thrown off on this pump a little bit, but we did talk about the 715 being a level. But I did sell my position, I believe, somewhere on one of these runs. But needless to say, it worked out for me because I was able to buy again and run this next move up. But, overall, we killed it on this. Absolutely killed it to a T. So, I think I started screwing up a little bit up here because ultimately, me being a bull, wanting to hold this level as support here, I was expecting that we were going to go a little bit higher here, but we were also looking for some closes above here, which we could not get. So although I was talking about us potentially breaking up here and moving the size of this pole here, once we got rejected here and fell and couldn't hold support here, that should have been the first warning sign. But unfortunately, seeing all of this action here, this whole way up, it was making me a little bit more one-sided than I should have been here, because I was really looking for us to at least double tap up here, and we never did, which that obviously was a mistake here. So, but once we caught resistance here was when I really went, oh shit, I gotta start selling my position. And that's what I did. I started selling here instead of selling up here. But, there's no way to call a top, and it's really hard to call a top. And that doesn't even mean we're not going to, ever go back up here again. But, now we have to look at this from a different point of view here because, for me, I was getting a little bit, damaged in this area here because I was trading, buying here, waiting for a break, and then, getting stopped out somewhere here. So I'm still locking in profits. But during this consolidation here, which I was looking for a bigger move to the upside, even though when we drew it like this, we could see it was descending triangle or bear flag here. But I was ultimately saying, hey, we're really holding this 830 level. This level is that, that massive rising channel area of support and resistance that I was talking about that we were trading in. And if we broke this level up here, the 742 at the time, or 800, we were going to take off, and which we did. But, and then back testing it as support, I was like, oh man, this looks unbelievably bullish here. But, once Bitcoin started really rolling over, that's why it's always good to keep track of Bitcoin, where it's heading, because these are going to get pulled down with Bitcoin until Bitcoin finds a bottom whether it goes sideways on a bottom or it has a nice move up, then these can turn back around. So, seeing what we're seeing here, we're going to have to really analyze this. So there's a couple different ways that we can say, hey, how low is this thing going? And, I have two different ways of saying that, but unfortunately, I don't know which way to go with. So, but if we look at this as descending triangle here, then overall, since I keep trying to chase this thing, right? I keep saying, oh, we're getting support here in the daily 20 EMA. We're going to run back up. Then we get rejected at 830, come back down. And we've just been getting rejected on all of these old support levels. So if we look at the price target here, the price target is roughly 615. So we just want to look at that and say, you know what? I think we're going to have to wait for a potential bounce somewhere between the 600 and the 630 level. And that's just kind of where we're going to have to wait, because if we keep on trying to say this thing is, that's it, we're double bottoming here, we're heading up back again. We could, right? We definitely could. But I think ultimately we're heading down to this price target here, roughly 615 or 632, and I got to stop chasing it. Now, one thing we did really well here was we analyzed that if we fell below this 830 level here and lost this support, that we don't have enough support below to really keep us from going much lower here. So I was really saying that, once we broke this level, that was it. We're going to be going a lot lower here. And, it's been definitely getting bounces at some of these old consolidation zones here, and we have to expect that it's going to keep doing that, getting support, bouncing, getting rejected again, coming down, finding new support here, bouncing again, getting rejected. And ultimately, until we get back above this 830 level, it's very possible we can come all the way down here to 625, to 600, and we could even, unfortunately, come as low as this 493 way down below. And, would that look so... Whoops, I don't know why I just opened that. Didn't mean to. I was just read it. And ultimately, if we did, it would look something like this. And we could go sideways and then have our big run. And this, if something like that did happen, how bad would that look? Let's look at that little bit of, drawing on the daily here. How bad would that look? That wouldn't look that bad. And this move, from here, January 1st to here, February, that's 1 month of being, and only 2 weeks of being down here. And then from, February to March, that's another month of just working our way down to this trend line. So now we're sitting here in April. So are we thinking that March, which would be not too far away, May, sorry, idiot. May, we would be having another potential run here? That wouldn't be that uncommon. Now, the thing is we don't know if we're going to have to come all the way down here. We don't know if we're going to just get another bounce from here. And that's what we kind of have to look at. If we got rid of some of these lines here, and I'm going to use a different chart because I don't want to delete all of my stuff here. But if we looked at this and we said, okay, let's get rid of all of this crap, and just say, you know what? We don't want to look at this anymore. Okay, this is something I just was watching a YouTube video, because I get a lot of my information from YouTube. And a guy pointed out something pretty good to me on Bitcoin. And he said, it's quite simple. Instead of drawing all these lines and all this crazy stuff, you just look at the weekly and you say, if you look at the weekly, where were we getting resistance? Where do we get our most resistance on the weekly time frame? And he said, I want you to draw a line where we got resistance. on the weekly time frame, the most. And just draw it straight across. So where did we get resistance the most on the weekly time frame? Obviously up here, and obviously down there. So instead of drawing all those lines, he said, well, look at all the areas that you got resistance. And this is pretty much, we probably don't have to go to this extent because, right now we're at 770. So we're getting resistance again below this, and we're trending under the 770 area. So obviously we can't say that this is a solid support level. Another resistance level was at the 641, which we haven't touched that yet. And it's possible we get a bounce there first. And that would make sense because it would be close to our level. That would be another area. And ultimately, this area was a very, very strong support area here. And then that 715 was a very strong resistance area. So somewhere between, I know it's a big area, but somewhere between the 715 and, or 662 and this 500 level. And we know 662 was a crazy area as well. So, 662 to me is going to be a pretty decent area to look for. And we almost came down to that on this wick here. We came down to 700. And if you look at the daily here, this 742 roughly area was a pretty strong area here that we've had marked out for a while. So this could be an area of confluence here to hold, which would be, awesome, but it's hard to know. Are we going to continue to hold this? We kind of tap that here, or are we going to fall right through? I don't know. There's no way to, in my opinion, there's no way really to know. I mean, I could be wrong and I could not know what I'm doing, and that's possible. It wouldn't look bad if we did hold this 642 either. So, I know I have some low levels here, but imagine if we went sideways here. How would that look? It would look like this. Trend sideways on a new support, hit a new resistance, come back down, trend sideways on new support, which was this area, and now we're in this area. So, got rejected. Now we're coming down, maybe this area. That's what I think. Just looking at this, trying to analyze what we've been doing, to me, I don't think this area is going to be the area, 750. I think this 662 level is going to be that area. And that would make a lot of sense to me. Another thing we could do, and this is all just speculation, and this is what, it's all about here, is like trying to figure out where could we possibly find ourselves slowing down in this trend. And if we drew a trend line like that, right, and we disregarded these couple wicks here faking out, and we actually pulled this up a little higher to this trend line here, that's this wick, right, this final back test. So it's almost like we dumped below it, we found support, and then we blasted up, back tested it, and we ran. So what is this level here? If we came all the way down here, it's roughly 580. Let's look at the weekly if that makes any sense. So on the weekly, at 530 is our 21-week EMA. So that would make a lot of sense to me as well. So I'm doing this live, and this is my first time looking into this here. So it's really just me trying to figure out where could we really find some solid support rather than looking at these smaller time frames that keep faking out on us. And as an analyst, that's what we want to do. We don't want to keep losing money trying to open these trades while the market's trying to find a bottom. So to me, this would be the most logical explanation. in the most logical place. Somewhere, if we look at the weekly, 662 looks like an extreme place, depending on how long it took us to get down there. If we had one big mean red candle here, it would equal it'd be 570 to 575. So let's look at this and say, is 575 something that we had mapped out here that could make sense? Let's see. Was 575 one of our areas? 631 and 598. And below that was 567. Okay, 567. So that could make perfect sense to us. So somewhere between 662 and 570. And if the breakdown target here is 612, I know it's confusing. It's confusing to me too. I'm really just trying to figure this out. 662, 600, or 575. So I'm going to call it this 600 level. And I think that, to be honest with you, just looking at this trend, that this 600 level would be an unbelievably bullish level to find support and hang on tight by. And the reason I'm thinking that is because here we pumped, we caught resistance, we dumped. Here we pumped right through it, came down to back test it, we lost that support, came back down. We came up, got resistance, came down. Came up, blasted right through it, and now we're coming down. So where would we come down to? I would think that if we just don't confuse ourselves here and we say bye, hello. And I'm going to get rid of that. Whoops. And I'm just going to say that this, shit. And I'm just doing this for myself, so that's why I'm trying to do it like visually right here so that we can, come on, if it'll let me grab it, which it won't. I might have to just delete it. There we go. Delete. Grab this. Put this here. We're going to put it at 608 to 599. That's the area for me that would be incredibly bullish. And I'm going to stop trying to chase this. And yes, we could get a bounce here at this. We could get a bounce at a double bottom somewhere at the 754 area. And we could. And if we do, and we get back and we find support again on this 850, 860 level, then we can say, all right, this looks good. But just this one bounce to me is not good enough. So if we found support here and we made something that looks a lot like this great consolidation, then it would make sense. But until we find some kind of this double bottom, not a small double bottom, like look at the 4 hour, right? Whoa, this looks like a nice W. And it could be, and we could run up from this W. But, I'm not going to look at these anymore. I'm going to look at the daily. And I'm going to wait this out and be patient. And if you want to make small trades in between, of course you can. And I'm drawing all over this thing, making it look terrible. But, if you want to make small trades in between, you can. And, I was considering it, but I've just been getting a little bit pissed off, to be honest with you. Because my trades aren't going the way I want them to. And I don't want to lose money that I made this whole way up. So personally, I'm just going to be patient here. And I'm going to wait and see where we're going to find some support here. And is it going to be this 600 level? And that's what I'm watching. And that's what I'm going to wait for. So I think that, if we want to find a place to make a lot of money from, we're going to have to wait a while here. About a month. And see if we can do something like this. And that, to me, would be the most bullish thing on this chart. And how awesome would that look? A W, a higher W, and an even higher W on an area that we could not hold pretty much ever through its life. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to be a month, 2 months, but I'll try to come back once I start seeing more price action in an area to me. I mean, it could be here. This could be the area right here. But until we see that, it's not worth it for me to continue to try to make these short-term videos and say we're bouncing, unless I clearly see something. So that's where I'm at, guys. Hopefully you guys appreciate this, and hopefully I can help you out. And this is mainly for myself. This is always, all these videos I do are for myself, and if you guys want to listen to me rant, you can, but ultimately I'm talking to myself and giving myself a lesson here, saying let's do what we did last time, wait for some big consolidation before we take any of these swings. And that's usually what we do. And that's what caused me to take this long here at 475 the first time. I didn't take longs here on these dips and buy these, I did sometimes during these, but I knew this was a bullish uptrend. Now we're turning into a bearish downtrend. And if you keep trying to grab these dips and get these lows, you can do them and make money on the way up, of course. But if we want to make the real money where we don't have to have these fears of, oh my God, where do I sell? Now I bought, where do I sell? Okay, where are we going to get resistance? Oh my, stressful. This right here was easy. Buy here, comes up, comes down, buy here, goes up, comes down, buy here, you know what I mean? And it was just so simple. So how do we make it simple? We wait for some kind of massive double bottom to play out, and then we play it somewhere right here, wherever that is. If you guys enjoy this video, please hit the like button. Peace.